And well, as Narendra Modi, of course, gets sworn in as India's Prime Minister for a second term, the entire world is watching closely, especially India's neighbors. Now, China's state-run media has been extremely vocal about how the ruling Communist Party has been viewing Modi's return to the helm. Now, in its latest piece, the Global Times states that Modi's victory has come about more because of his image as a strong politician. The Global Times article is titled Pros and Cons of Modi as a Politician. It is penned by a senior editor at the People's Daily, the Chinese Communist Party's mouthpiece. Hence, it can be taken as the Chinese government's point of view on Modi's victory. Now, as usual, the Chinese media weighs in on the equation between India and China. And the Global Times says that economic opening up and policy integration are among all states which will benefit economic and trade cooperation. So, of course, many statements there by the Chinese Daily on how Indians have voted for a strong leader in Prime Minister Modi. That is the Global Times there speaking. And these are visuals on your screens now of the Rashtrapati Bhavan, where guests are trickling in. Whether it is film stars or industrialists or ministers, former ministers, opposition leaders who have been invited. Many of them have, of course, turned down the invitation, but several are still attending. Remember, Mamata Banerjee said she is not going to be attending the swearing-in ceremony after first saying she will. Similarly, of course, for others, Jagan Mohan Reddy had his own swearing-in ceremony today. He's not going to be present, but Congress's Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi said they will be attending the swearing-in ceremony for the Prime Minister. Now, there were several meetings since last night, this afternoon. Several leaders of the BJP and allies actually arrived at the Prime Minister's residence. There were phone calls that were made this morning from the PMO to several leaders indicating that they were going to get a position in this new government, that they will be in this government. So,
all guests are requested to kindly resume their seats after the national anthem while a group photograph of the Council of Ministers with the President, Vice President and the Prime Minister is taken. This would be followed by photographs of leaders of the 8 friendly nations with the President and Prime Minister of India. All guests are requested to remain seated during this entire sequence of events. Guests are requested to move towards the different venues for refreshments only when we announce the same.
So, of course, as we're pointing out, several leaders there making their way to the Rashtrapati Bhavan. 8,000 guests in total, about 10,000 security personnel on the streets, a complete blanket cover. There are foreign dignitaries who are also attending this, BIMSTEC leaders, and also, of course, this is part of our neighborhood first policy, the fact that the Prime Minister is sending a clear message to Pakistan and China that even though SAARC nations were invited last time, there is a notable omission in Pakistan not being invited and neither China. But the countries that have been invited, the leaderships of the countries, Bangladesh, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, Thailand, Nepal, Bhutan, and also the Kyrgyz Republic and also Mauritius. And so this is going to be this focus of the new government. The outreach to the Neighbourhood Act East policy is something that the Prime Minister has spoken at length about, and the omission of Pakistan, of course, comes in the backdrop of how the relationship between the two countries has completely nosedived after the Pulwama attack and also, of course, after the Balakot strike. So an important list of dignitaries there. The Prime Minister's first visit abroad will also be Maldives. You can imagine how this new government will focus on the neighborhood. Well, with that, we're wrapping up this show, but this is our continued coverage here from 6 to 9 p.m. Tonight on the swearing-in ceremony. Stay with us after the show.